Hey, this is Matthew Justice, second fucking Gear Crew, and you're listening and you're watching Turnbuckle Tavern.
Welcome to the fucking GCW show. I'm your co-host, Chad. With me, as always, is Mr. Mike Belcaster. Mike, what's going on, dude?
Nothing much, man. Stacked ass weekend. Going into a stacked ass week of not only GCW, but pro wrestling in general. I am pumped, man.
Yeah, maybe the most stacked ass weekend coming up that we've ever seen from them since we've been doing the show. Yeah, guys, if you like the GCW show, please leave us a review on Apple. Give us a 5-star on Spotify. You can do that now. We greatly appreciate that stuff. It helps us a ton. You can find the fucking GCW show on the Turnbuckle Tavern feed on Apple and Spotify. And tell your friends, spread the word.
Yeah.
But before we get into tonight, we have a guest. So let's go ahead and bring on the ace of the tavern.
I'm gonna shake your hand.
He's jabbing and dusty.
It's called working.
He's hardcore. He's hardcore. What's going on, guys?
Ace,
I'm
dude,
working.
what's going on? Thanks for joining us tonight.
Of course, man. I appreciate you having me. I'm collecting the Infinity Stones, and the fucking GCW might be the most valuable one. I think you have to be informed. You got to hold your own. You guys go at it every week, and I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, dude, we're pumped to have you. It's rare to get someone who isn't intimidated to talk GCW. Not many people in our little circle dive as deep as me and Mike, so I'm stoked to have you on.
I love being here. Mike and I were texting all throughout GCW one night only. We were watching it a little bit staggered. I finished the event. I think he was starting it. But I'm very excited to get into it and talk all about what happened on Thursday night.
Yeah, man. What a weekend. Well, I mean, it was Thursday, so it kind of like set us up for the weekend, but like what a night. The one thing before we dive into like the top stories of the week, the one thing that was noticeable, and I hate to be a buzzkill right out of the gate, but when I saw that Emil J wasn't announcing, I was a little bit bummed.
It's heartbreaking, man. What's the girl's name?
Denise Salcido.
So she's with Fightful, right?
Yeah, I think she does work with Fightful and Wrestling Observer.
Okay.
Yeah, she has the weekend show to Wrestling Observer, so she'll do the post show for AEW pay-per-views, and she's great, but she's definitely not who we want on the show. So definitely didn't have the same exact vibe. But I feel you guys.
No, I'm a big Emil Mark, man.
I'm a big Emil Mark. Stick around for our top fucking tweets because Emil always shows up in those. I love Denise. I think it's cool to see young people, like younger than even us, like doing their thing in the wrestling world and making a name for themselves. So I'm not a hater. It's just like you guys said, we love Emil. He's the voice. He's the voice of GCW. So.
Yeah, you can't do an ECW show without Joey Styles. You know what I mean?
It's like when Mick Foley won the title and Jim Ross wasn't there. So Michael Cole, like he was great for what he was doing, but it didn't have the same feel as if Jim Ross would have called the match. And Foley said that himself too. So
100%. And I get it because I have a feeling that they kind of were like, Emil, take the night off. We've got 7 or 8 events coming up next weekend that you're going to need to rest that voice for. So
yeah,
pretty good though. But first top story I wanted to kind of talk about with GCW and it was very like apparent at one night only, was their usage of unique venues. We were at the iconic Roxy Theater on the Sunset Strip in Hollywood, California. I went there a few times when I lived out there. This is the place where like Neil Young was the first performer to ever play there. This was Guns N' Roses at the height of the hair metal craze on the Sunset Strip. This holds a lot of weight in the music world. And I love that Brett Lauderdale finds these unique venues like Harpo's in Detroit.
Yeah.
And goes and puts shows on there. It's really cool.
Absolutely, man. I think it almost adds more of it, not just a vibe to them, but it makes it more interesting. It makes it cooler. It's got that hipness, that all the cool kids are talking about these days. But yeah. I mean, Roxy is just an iconic music venue. Yes. And to see that they brought GCW there it was badass, man. It was really cool.
I mean, what really spoke to was the fact that they didn't advertise a card, which made it feel like it was even more exclusive. I know it wasn't, whatever, it wasn't thousands of people, but the fact that they sold it out sight unseen with just announced talent, Roxy was the star that sold out Thursday. I mean, venues like that are an underrated aesthetic that I think most promotions ignore. And I think GCW and Brett Lauderdale, they get it. They know what they are and they lean into it, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And, I'm not hating on AEW or Raw or SmackDown, but, with the way they are big company, when they go into these venues, you can't tell where they're at. You know what I mean? Like every venue kind of, unless it's something extremely different, rarely ever does it have like its own feel with an AEW or WWE show. That's the beauty of running smaller independents is they can really take advantage. Like the Ukrainian Cultural Arts Center they do in Los Angeles has a vibe. They did a show like I'm wanting to say maybe about a year ago in Laramie, Wyoming called Outlaw Mud Show. And it was pretty much like a rodeo barn. Yeah. And it had this very unique vibe to it. So it's like when you can tap into stuff like that, I feel like it gives your company a leg up on the big companies. It's something fresh. It's something different. You never know what it's going to look like. And I gotta shout out two little facts about the Roxy that make it cool. Also, this is the place where Paul Rubens debuted the Pee Wee Herman character.
Oh, wow.
This is also a place where Richard Pryor recorded a live comedy album there. So, I mean, there's so much history here, and to have Game Changer Wrestling in this venue is extremely cool.
Yeah, 100%.
Venues can give a show a character and create an intangible feel to it. And I think GCW really gets mood. They make you feel like it's important without having to compete with the production because they can't. They know they can't compete with the production of the bigger companies with the larger budgets, and they lean into it, which I think is admirable because it almost makes it better.
Yeah, it's like, I know we always talk about it. Mike, you go to a lot of shows, like not wrestling shows, but music shows. And I know me and Sneed, we've been to tons of shows, and something to me, I would rather see a band in a dive bar than I would in an arena. And when you're seeing like Harpo's, Roxy, even though there's maybe 300-400 people in these places, it doesn't matter. Yeah. The energy's still there.
No, it gives it like a Fight Club feel. Yeah. Like it's not so orchestrated. It's not this massive stadium, and stadium shows are great and all, but like when you get that intimacy that you only get on the indies, like the gymnasium shows are fun and all, but like when you're doing stuff at like a Roxy or a Harpo's or anything of that matter, even Hammerstein, like you get this vibe, this feeling of like, man, this is cool as shit. I'm here witnessing something different. Yep. That makes it so much better, man.
And ironically, like the Hammerstein Ballroom, I was so excited to have them there and sell it out and all of that. It was the only show for me that felt like it was missing that exact vibe that we saw Thursday.
It was lackluster.
Maybe it was the way it was filmed and the hard camera. I think you and I were talking about it offline, Mike, about the hard camera being on the opposite side of what it usually was at One Night Stand.
Yeah.
The goal eventually should be selling out those larger venues, and it's counterproductive to be like, all right, we're going to strive just to do these standing room only. But places like the Roxy make GCW. And like, it was awesome to see the fans hanging on the apron, like Joey Janella doing his heel work, and the fans are flipping him off in his face like, through the middle rope. Yeah. And there's something to be said about that. I mean, Cardona, the whole interaction, what made Cardona that run so amazing, if we consider that run over yet, but that run throughout the summer was just amazing because the fans were in his face. He was just taking, beer bottles and stuff to the face, and people were in his face, and it felt like he was in imminent danger when he won that title in Atlantic City. So that created a vibe that we never feel on any other promotion.
Yeah. And the thing I love about it too, their venues, they pick cool venues, but their venues also kind of trickle down into their artwork for the shows. Like they do a really good job of capturing an aesthetic. You know what I mean? Like all of their shows, the names that they pick for their events, whoever their graphic designer is, it just picks a vibe. Even on this show, they had that very cool opening, the overhead drone shots of Los Angeles with the kind of 80s cursive writing, Game Changer Wrestling Presents, with the wrestlers' names. I wanted to play it here, but it had a song on it that would have dinged us, so I couldn't play that. But I love their aesthetic and their poster artwork, everything included in the venues.
Yeah, one of the cooler venues that they've run before, and I've been to a concert at both these places, the Voltage Lounge in Philly. I've seen a band called Can't Swim from Jersey, and seeing them there and then understanding, I watched them at the Voltage Lounge on TV, but then going there for a concert and seeing just how intimate it is, where the bar is on top of the dance floor and the stage is right there. And then there's an overhang similar to most other venues where there's just, one row of people that can stand up there and watch the show. It has, like you said, a Fight Club feel, almost like what they were going for with Raw Underground, but like obviously they completely missed that. But that's what it feels like. It feels like, I don't know if you guys remember the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies back in the day, where like all the Foot Clan would be down, like in the fighting each other.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like, and like that's awesome. How do you capture that in real life? And I think they did a great job of it.
They definitely did. Now the next top story, Ace, you brought this to the table, and it's the misconception of GCW as a deathmatch company. And this is something me and Mike have talked about a lot, but kick it off, man. Give us your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so for every Nick Gage and Matt Tremont match where they're sticking forks in their head and they're taking light tubes through them, we have matches like the ones we got at One Night Only. Speedball and Blackwood, which we'll get into later, and then Janella and Ninja Mac. They went 26 minutes, had their share of spots, but it was quality wrestling through and through. The misconception of GCW is a deathmatch company that relies on blood and guts and just to get guys over, that's just inherently false. It's just not true. I think that on the underbelly of GCW is the hardworking guys, similar to the old school ECW rap where you had the Lance Storms, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, Rey Mysterio, the Lucha guys, pulling the weight. And I think there's a really good work rate that's going on in GCW that people ignore because they want to believe what people are telling them. They see the things that go viral on Instagram or Twitter, and that's what happens to sell. You're going to see John Moxley getting his face busted open. You're going to see, Nick Gage with like 2 teeth in his head. That's what kind of gets the clicks. And there's a place for that. I think GCW is becoming more of a plethora of diversity as far as literally with the people that are wrestling, but also the type of wrestling you can get. And I think One Night Only exemplified that, because if someone tells me GCW is just blood and guts and they don't like death matches, you're just not watching the show. That's not only what it is.
No, I'm with you 100%. I think me and Mike have talked about how it gives me ECW vibes, man. Like ECW, like the people that say ECW was just violence for the sake of violence weren't the people that were watching ECW.
Right.
I mean, for every Sandman Sabu match, you were getting those Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, just barn burners.
100%.
I'm with you 100% on this point.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things like don't believe it until you check it out. Don't shit on it until you actually get your own judgment out of it. Because I mean, we've covered shows where there was no death matches. There was barely any. I think there was a couple shows with no light tubes even. Like this. It's just sometimes it's just bell to bell hardcore fucking wrestling and technical hardcore wrestling, not throwing tables at each other and fire and all that shit. Like they did a goddamn good job covering it.
Yeah, you mentioned ECW, and I feel like it really has the ECW vibe with more progressiveness and eyes towards diversity. And I think a lot of what they're doing is great for wrestling. They're getting people on the card that are just from different backgrounds. I mean, look at guys like EFFY and the whole card, everybody. They're trying to get different faces that are on top of their shows, and I think they're doing a really good job of it. Look at EFFY's Big Gay Brunch, and then you're going to have GCW for the Culture during the collective. So they're making a concerted effort that's not just lip service. They're actually going out there and making a difference in the wrestling community desperately needs it, if we're being honest. So I commend GCW for everything they're doing. And like I said, if you haven't watched it, if you're watching the show, somehow you found your way here, first of all, make sure you like Turnbuckle Tavern, subscribe, give a rating 5 stars, and make sure you guys check out GCW. It's more than just death matches. It's more than just blood and guts. There's actual quality wrestling that's outside of a bubble. So step out of your comfort zone and check out something cool, especially this weekend. We're going to get into the collective. There is so much to check out.
So much.
And this is the weekend to check it out.
Yeah, and reasonable price too. That's one thing that, like, wrestling fans, you always hear, oh, the blue collar wrestling fan can't afford a $60 pay-per-view. These are fucking $10 to $15 most of the time.
Right.
If not, you're getting so much. You're getting a 3.5 hour show, and like we say, they're stacked. Great wrestling, some of the best wrestling you could see in this day and age right now.
Yeah, that was the best $10 I spent on Thursday. I think, I was like, this is the best, man. This is like, you get a whole month of Peacock, but I got more wrestling and just right now.
Yeah. The last thing I want to say just to this point is like a prime example of what we're talking about. If you want, good technical mat wrestling, back a couple shows ago when they were in Atlanta at Center Stage for Astronaut, we got Jonathan Gresham and Blake Christian, and that was an absolute like clinic. So, it's not all Nick Gage light tube fest, guys.
Yeah.
But you brought it up. We got to talk about, to me, one of the, we'll save our best bout from one night only, but this was definitely in the running for best bout. And it was the match that kicked it off. Speedball Mike Bailey against Kevin Blackwood. These two guys, Kevin Blackwood is from the Buffalo gym that also has given us Daniel Garcia, the Butcher and the Blade. He's came out of there. He was actually working a lot backstage. I know when I went to FanFest at Double or Nothing, he was working for AEW. He popped up on Dark a lot, but I guess he's transplanted out to Los Angeles now, and he's been popping up on a lot of West Coast GCW shows. I think he had his debut at the last set of events there. And this match between Speedball and Blackwood, I thought set the tone for the night.
Agreed, man. This is how you open a show, and it's about pace, and it's about getting the crowd up and ready to go. And it was given time. It told a story throughout it. And it wasn't a spot fest like we talked about. It wasn't just relying on weapons and blood and guts. These guys went out there and worked really hard. And if you watch the match pretty closely, there was a great story being told of the competitive fire between the both of them. Obviously, they're telling a story about Speedball, Mike Bailey throughout all the GCW shows. If you're watching there, you can see the growth of him in the ring and also as a character. But also Blackwood they both were respecting each other. They shook hands in the beginning of the match, reminiscent of Ring of Honor. Shout out to Honor Society. Will be joining you guys soon.
Got to plug that.
So both shaking hands in the beginning of the match, and then it results in slapping each other in the face. So it just showed how much the match meant to each other. And like I said, it set the pace for the whole show. And I think, just want to say this, Mike Bailey's finish might be the most devastating finisher you'll see all WrestleMania weekend. Those 2 knees to the sternum. He did it a few times. There's no way to take that and not hurt. It looked like it looked very devastating. Very cool finish.
Yeah, I have that. I mean that.
Oof,
Jesus
dude. Christ. There's no way to not like. There's no way to pull that.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no way to pull that move.
Yeah, and it's not like you can collapse underneath the weight of him like on purpose either, because you're gonna kill the guy. So it's like that's one of those moves where you just have to toughen shit out and take it.
And I think he hit it. Didn't he hit it on him when he was laying on the apron too? That was even more brutal.
That was wild. Mike Bailey is one of my favorite things I've discovered in the GCW realm, and I think he's a modern day Lance Storm. I've said it over and over and over again. Like he's that guy. He comes in the ring, all business, no fucking around.
I think KG on commentary said he is it's video game offense come to life. When he's throwing those kicks, it's like when you're just button smashing on Mortal Kombat. Kick. The velocity that he just throws these kicks at is crazy, man.
Yeah. Thing is, like, he's destined for great things. You just watch him in the ring. He feels special. And if you guys haven't seen Speedball work, guys, just check out a YouTube compilation. I'm sure it's out there. But most importantly, buy the GCW show so you guys can support them. Support independent and local promotions, because that's how these young wrestlers make a name for themselves. So make sure you guys go out and check this guy out. He is everything we're saying he is and more.
And the big thing, go to the shows. Don't just buy the ticket to the show. Buy something off their merch table.
Yep.
That goes right into their pocket. If you want to help a indie wrestler, man, buy from their merch table.
Direct line of payment, man. That's the best way to do it. And you usually get a hot dog and a handshake from them too. Like they're usually really cool, and like the merch table's always the place if you're looking to meet any of these guys. And they bring in some names sometimes too, which is always a fun thing to do. But like, you go up there, you support them, you meet them, tell them how fucking awesome they are.
Yeah.
And just talking about this match, and then we can move on to the next topic. But like, the thing that stuck out about these two guys is, sometimes with up and comers, indie guys, you can tell that they're still trying to find their flow, and they maybe don't lay it in, because you're not as familiar with the guys you're wrestling, and maybe there's a tendency to pull your punches. This was not the case with these guys. They were this was high paced, stiff work. Like all of the stuff they were laying in looked like it hurt. I'm a big Kevin Blackwood dude. When he debuted in GCW at Welcome to Heartbreak against Tony Deppen, that match he had with Deppen was just snug as it could get in the best way.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me they can keep up the frenetic pace. Like they went from 0 to 100 and stayed at that level the whole match. And they did go. It wasn't a short match. They went out there and they worked a pretty long match to open the show. And it was every bit as exciting as it was from the beginning. It never really slowed down. And that's a credit to both guys in the ring. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next thing, I just wanted to touch on it because this guy's been like a big topic of discussion for us since we've been doing the show. I think last episode we may have said that this kid's a future title contender. Blake Christian made his debut on AEW Dark last week, and it was against Rahit Raju, formerly of Impact, former X Division champion. So do you guys think, like, I feel like Blake Christian is not long for this world in GCW. I feel like this ROH thing, he's going to get scooped up by Tony Khan in the ROH roster build, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice to see him get a win on Dark. Usually when they debut on Dark, they're used as job talent, which is good. It's good exposure. You see a lot of guys from different companies go out to Dark and Elevation, and they lose, but they clearly have some plans for him. And they're trying to extend the olive branch to GCW. I mean, Tony Khan's always out there. He doesn't have the insecurity that most promotions do. And he's willing to showcase and make other talent and other promotions look strong on his own platform, which is it's commendable in his own right. The one thing I did notice was the fact he came out to AEW Dark Music and Taz was
going to say the same thing.
So Taz was all over him the whole match saying, like, this is one of our songs when we come out to announce. But they presented him as a job talent, but he went out there and he pretty much dominated the whole match, which was cool to see. He got his spots in, and I thought it was a great showcase of what he can do. It wasn't a long match. Obviously, the Dark Elevation, matches are not long ever. But it provided the casual fan who was unfamiliar with his work being like, I need to check out other things he's doing because it opens some eyes.
Yeah, big kudos to Tony Khan for bringing in, not just bringing in, but I mean, he's given one of his biggest workers to GCW for a good long stint, John Moxley, so there's a lot of love going on in between with both companies, but I'm excited to see it kind of pulling back into the AEW world and Ring of Honor. Hopefully, I'm pumped to see what we're gonna get because shit's getting crazy now.
We're living in a time, dude. We're living in a time that's absolutely just unprecedented, where there's doors that are opening that never had been opened before, and the only person that's not playing in the sandbox is Vince McMahon. I mean, unless you believe that the Cody stuff isn't working, we're not even going to get into that. But I think it's really awesome to see because, a rising tide lifts all ships, and I think Tony Khan knows that. So the wrestling business is only better if every company is going out there and putting on banger shows. I mean, we have just this weekend alone, and we're going to get into it. Aside from the GCW collective, we have the Ring of Honor stuff going on. We have obviously WCW and just all the other wrestling that's going on, Impact in the area. So it's awesome to see wrestling getting a spotlight and not just everyone sort of cannibalizing each other. It's almost nice to see everybody working in harmony and lifting each other up. And that's what GCW has gotten from Tony Khan. And it seems like they were going to return the favor by sending some talent his way. Because like you guys mentioned, Ring of Honor is going to need some help to maybe get off the ground. They have a lot of talent in AEW, but I think they've got to bring some outside talent to maybe get it off the ground a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they've already kind of dipped their toe in the water because on one of their match announcements, they have Alex Hot Sauce Zane going against Swerve Strickland.
Right.
So
crazy.
So that's going to be a good match. And when I think of Alex Zane, I think of Blake Christian, just because they both kind of went over into NXT / 205 Live together. They both got released together. They both came from GCW. They both went back to GCW. So those, if they're eyeballing Alex Zane for the ROH card, I would not be shocked if Blake Christian ends up somewhere in that company.
He fits perfect. I think he actually fits the billing and not of just what the aesthetic was with Ring of Honor beforehand. And I'm sure Tony Khan is going to be loyal to what it looked like. And because he's a traditionalist, he loves tapping into wrestling history. And I'm sure he's not going to make Ring of Honor look any different than it used to look. He's going to want a piece of what Ring of Honor was. He's going to want the Bryan Danielson type of Ring of Honor. You go out there and it's just hard hitting action. And Blake Christian, like we mentioned, fits that.
Yeah. Absolutely. So our last top story before we dive into some of the matches from One Night Only and then get into looking ahead to the collective this weekend, we were talking about the heel turn transformation of this man, Mr. Joey Janela, came out rocking the Danzig inspired t-shirt, which got mad props from me.
Oh, yeah.
The guy is working on a crazy level right now. I think he's hitting his stride. But before we dive into just this heel turn transformation, we can go ahead and dive into the match with Ninja Mac from One Night Only. It main evented the show, and it kicked off with a pretty legendary promo. Now, this is about 3 minutes, guys, but it was such a good promo to kind of set the tone of where Janela is in his character right now that I feel like we have to play it for the listeners and the viewers. But here's Joey Janela kicking off his main event match at GCW One Night Only.
We went from a warehouse in South Jersey to the legendary Roxy in West Hollywood, Los Angeles, California. And you know why that happened? You know why we're here right now? It was me! It was the bad boy, Joey Janela!
It's my friend Big Dave that set this up.
Janela's so self-centered, so lacking self-awareness.
Whoa, guys! Come on! The more you keep on chanting, the longer I'll take to get this over with. How about that?
Get this over with? What's he talking about?
I was here since the beginning. I was here before Brett Lauderdale. I was there before Brett Lauderdale. And I wasn't the only one that was here back in those days. That man right there, Sean Waltman, was there as well.
That's factual.
And we won the JCW tag team straps while I was getting paid.
We never lost
$40 fucking dollars. This guy was getting paid thousands and nodding off in the locker room.
That's a cheap shot.
Maybe because I was fucking hungover, dipshit.
That was
a long time ago.
Yeah. I had to do all the work because Sean Waltman was too gimmick up to get the job done. And when I lost those tag team belts, it was because we had no idea where you were, Sean. You were passed out in your hotel room in Atlantic City, and I had the team with Jake the fucking Snake.
He's making that up.
Yeah, this is all improv.
Yeah.
Improv.
And I lost those belts because it was your fucking fault. And And the reason that we're here right now is not Sean Waltman, it's because of me.
Yada fucking yada, man.
The reason Ninja Mac is here is because of me. The reason
Can someone give him his fucking flowers already?
was because of me.
1-800-Flowers, get somebody on this.
The reason Jungle Boy is getting paid big paychecks and fucking NJ is because of me.
The reason Jungle Boy's getting big paychecks is because of you, Janella.
I
We got a hot crowd here in their reaction, so
God, and this motherfucker, like everyone else, is gonna go to Japan next month and never look back. Because even when I was signed to All Elite Wrestling, guess what? I was fucking here. Where are my flowers? Now, Ninja Mac, it's time you show me a little fucking respect.
Awesome.
Wow.
He deserves his flowers, goddammit.
Yeah.
Wow. Like the fact that he pulled out the Marco stunt, Jungle Boy, Anna Jay. Come on, man.
No, it was awesome. I had that written down in my notes. It's like that was the part of the promo that popped me the hardest, man. It was like but he's speaking truth.
Yeah.
You know, he's living the character. You know, he's doing the fucking work, and it's a shame that we didn't get this side of Joey Janela in AEW.
Yeah, leaving AEW might just wind up being the best thing that ever happened to him, and I know it probably burned him to a point where he's motivated. I think look at him physically; he looks better than ever. We haven't seen this side of Joey Janela in AEW at all, and I thought this is what we would be getting in AEW, and it just never happened. But you know what? Sometimes the best work comes out of adversity. We saw Matt Cardona rise from the ashes of being released from WWE. And that's now his developmental. Maybe AEW is Joey Janela's developmental, and we're going to just see the better version of his career the next couple of years. But who would have thought? Only in 2022 that we're looking forward to XPAC versus Joey Janela. And honestly, it's one of the best. Spoiler alert: I have it on my top 5 matches of this weekend, and that's not just GCW. Like I'm looking forward to this match tenfold, and I think it's going to be amazing. The one thing I want to mention though. He did bring up the history of alcohol and substance abuse. And for a second, I thought maybe he would have brought up Scott Hall. I know it's really fresh. And I just I was hoping he wouldn't do that. So I'm happy they didn't go there. But everything is, obviously X-Pac would sign off on things and that would be cool. But, those are some low blows and things about him nodding off in the locker room. Those are some of the stories we heard. So I'd only bring some real life stuff and real life heat to the actual match.
And Janela's been pretty, when that happened, the Scott Hall tragedy happened, he talked about how monumental he was to his career.
Yeah.
Like X-Pac and Scott Hall. So I'm glad he stayed away from that too. I thought X-Pac was going to bring it up there for a set when he was talking. I thought he was going to bring up something too, because it was so fresh.
Yeah.
Because X-Pac is on commentary with Kevin Gill during this entire thing. And Joey's talking to him, and we all pop at the Anna Jay, Jungle Boy's fucking Anna Jay because of me. That's the pop part of the thing. But the thing that really hit me hard about this promo that really set it over the top was when he went into the moment where he looked out at Brett Lauderdale and was like, I was here before you.
Yeah.
And when I was here, X-Pac was here. And so it was like this feud was birthed before Lauderdale came in and revamped this company and made it what it was with Janella. Janella and Lauderdale, if you look at the two people that are really responsible for what we know as Game Changer Wrestling today, it's Lauderdale, Joey Janela, and Nick Gage. Those three people are why this company is what it is right now.
Right.
100%. And then listen, I've been peeping the spring breaks for a while now, a couple, my friends that work them and stuff like that. So it's cool to be like, oh, yeah, you know, Ego's gonna be in the clusterfuck battle royal. It's gonna be awesome. And Janelle's been fucking not only putting in the work, he ramped up his own shows. He's a creative mind there, and you can see by this promo, he hasn't lost it one bit. And like we were saying, you know, AEW might have beaten him down a little bit, that schedule, all that shit, but to see him be such a wordsmith still, and still, you know, cut with a razor tongue, I fucking love it, man.
You know what made this, like, to me, everything, and this is what I love about pro wrestling in general. Like, everyone can talk about the cool high spots, the great technical matches, the 5-star classics, whatever. But for me, speaking personally, the thing that draws me in to pro wrestling, and it has from day one, is the story.
Yeah.
And Janella, this whole XPAC thing is wrapped up in story, and they're blurring the lines of reality. He's taking it all the way pre Brett Lauderdale, and it's making it matter more than just this is a wrestling angle. Like, and we all know it's an angle. Obviously, we're fans. We know the ins and outs of stuff like that, but it's blurring those lines that make you kind of like put your guard down and really dive into the ride of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you can suspend belief, it makes you, that's the most fun you have as a wrestling fan. And some of the stuff that Janella was saying, I would go to my grave thinking he actually believes it about the stuff. Like, maybe he turns it up to another level with the Jungle Boy stuff, but you know, he feels burned by the AEW stuff because he never got a call back. He feels like he was an important piece at the beginning of that company. He was put in a huge spot when they first, I mean, the street fight with Moxley. I think he wrestled Omega and then the lights out match. So they had great intentions for him. It just never panned out. But like I said, maybe this is the wake up call he needed to, like, all right, now I have to hone my craft. I can't just coast on what I had done in the past. Now I have to kind of change and evolve. And he really has been doing that. I just want to touch base on the thing you said about the Janella spring break. Go through the cards since 2017. I think that's the beginning of when it happened. Look at those cards and see all those guys that were on those. And it's almost, not saying it is the reason they are where they are, but guys like Orange Cassidy, Jungle Boy, all those guys who we now know are household names on these promotions that are nationwide have gotten their start on that weekend at WrestleMania with Janela's spring break. So it's not just this like indie show that people like to have a good time, because it is that as well. But it's a very valuable piece of WrestleMania weekend that it's highly sought out. So I'm looking at the card for this weekend. It's like, all right, who is going to be the guy in 3 years we're going to be talking about?
Exactly.
100%.
And spring break 2020, that was kind of, they went all in on that. And that was going to be the thing that was really going to blow them up to the next level. And Lauderdale talked about, then the pandemic hits. He had to eat all of that money. And it almost took the wings completely out of them. And then they built towards the Hammerstein show. But yeah, just excellent heel work, excellent storytelling. Just some of the bits in the matches, some of the bits from the match with Janella and Ninja Mac, that I love the old school luchador spot.
You've seen that shown in Mexico many times. Yeah.
He turns his mask around. Such a great little move. He hits this. XPAC called it a super career ender, which was a crazy spot.
Oh no!
Super career ender.
Love XPAC. Super career ender. Like, all nonchalant about it. Like, oh fuck, man. Like that'll kill you. Like,
and then,
I gotta say, dude, Ninja Mac is just impressing me from every event on. He is
just fucking nuts.
I mean, we might have to change the attire, but I like the mask and everything. He might have to change the attire because it has an Akira Tozawa vibe to it. I think he needs to get a little bit of the main event vibe to it, but he is just as much of carrying that match as Janela was. They was very even for 26 minutes. They went out there and stole the show. I mean, we talked about Speedball and Blackwood, but that main event, I didn't expect them to go 26 minutes. I really didn't.
No, they tore it up. It's like me and Mike were talking several shows ago when Janella and Scotty Too Hottie tore it up for like 30 minutes. It was like, whoa.
It was mind blowing, man. Yeah.
So Janella finishes the match with an X Factor. And this kind of he calls for XPAC after hitting the X Factor. He calls for XPAC. XPAC comes out. They get face to face. We get a classic shot. This was all that's what I loved about it. Like, they weren't building really any other matches for the collective. This was kind of like front and center. This is your last time to put some build into a feud. And this is the match they chose to put the build into. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, no, super pumped about that. Like, it was a good change up from like the Cardona stuff, you know, not dogging on the Cardona shit at all. I love it, but it's good to see them putting, you know, this huge moment, because it's going to be a big moment this weekend. I'm so excited for it, but I love that they like really honed in on this story. They're giving Janella not just the space to pull off shit, but the microphone to paint the picture with, you know, and he's doing such a goddamn good job. And XPAC's just kind of hanging out there doing his thing, but it's cool to see,
Super
man.
Career ender.
Super career ender, brother.
It's going to be very tricky to see how they book this, because the obvious choice would be Janella, you know, gets the win over the veteran Sean Waltman. But I'm not sure that's exactly where they're going, because I think they're going to be building up towards Janella getting his flowers. And I don't think the story is going to be just neat and simple, just like they're going to have it ended here. He could get the win, but maybe it's going to be, I think this feud is going to be extended past just this weekend. I think it's going to continue in some capacity. And I hope so, because I love what we're getting here. I love getting some extra time at Xbox, because this is like bonus for us, because we thought he was done forever, and having him in there, and he looks great. That tag match, he looked great. And I think it's going to be exciting to watch him to go out there and have, I mean, hopefully it goes 30 minutes this week, and I think that they could go, and I think Janelle is up for the challenge, and so is Xbox, so it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we got a clear, sober X-Pac too, which is, I mean, he's great. He was great in the ring when he was fucked up. Imagine how good this is going to be, you know? And I'm pumped for it.
I heard someone say maybe Kevin Nash. I can't recall who it was, but when he had the match against when it was him and Janella against the major, what did they call themselves? The major players.
Major players. Yeah.
He tore his bicep in that match.
Yeah.
And that's great. Like, because whoever, I think it was Kevin Nash, was like, "Welcome back to the biz, bro." Like, you're out, you come back in, tear your fucking bicep.
Yeah. I guess it's better than when he tore his asshole. I mean, how many years ago?
Yeah.
Which time, right?
So anything is better than that, I guess, right?
Yeah,
no, for sure.
So I guess let's just go like some rapid thoughts on the card itself. First up, after that barn burner that we already talked about with Speedball and Blackwood, we went into Nick Wayne and Jack Cartwell. Dude, I'm so high. I like both of these guys, but Nick Wayne, this kid is so good. And what I love about him, he's not just a young kid. This guy has tradition. He's a third generation wrestler, like Buddy Wayne's son. I love this kid.
No, every time he gets out there, he steps up and just puts on a fucking barn burner, like absolute barn burner.
Miles ahead of what is he, 17? And there's a reason why he signed to an AEW contract, and the future's super bright with him. Obviously, I mean, that's just, everyone knows that. But watching him in this match, it's not just like he goes out there and he's pulling out spots where he's just like super athletic. He has the psychology down. For a 17-year-old to go out there and have an idea about what a match should look like and putting a strategic and logical finish to a match together, it just doesn't seem like it's pieced together. Like, I'll do this, you do that, I'll do this. It feels like he's out there calling spots, which is for a 17-year-old. First of all, it takes a lot of gumption to go out there and be calling spots with guys almost double your age. And like I'm impressed a little bit more every time I see him. And I'm really excited for the future. I mean, who knows what the ceiling is for this guy? Because if he's this good when he's 17, who knows how good he could be when he's, say, 22.
Exactly. Exactly. And in the words of the great Daddy Magic, if you want a taste of some of the highlights from this match, here's some highlights of what you missed in this match. that cutter off
the
stage. Unreal. This finishing sequence, he runs off the stage, hits the cutter, jumps up on the middle turnbuckle, and hits another cutter for the win. Unbelievable.
Yeah. The kid's going to go some places, man.
Wise beyond his years.
So, and I love Cartwell, too. I think Jay Cartwell's just fucking unbelievably great, man. And just a blast.
Yeah. Next up, here's a little bit of a taste for the next match. So we had fucking with a different boy, Jimmy Lloyd, against Sandra Moon. I enjoy Jimmy Lloyd, man. He's pretty athletic for a big man.
Oh yeah, he's fun to watch though. Like every time we watch the shows, I'm like, fucking Jimmy Lloyd, man, that's my motherfucking dude.
and good for Sandra Moon. She went out there, she took a beating. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
She went out there and she owned it, and she was out there and she took a beating. That's not easy to take bumps for Jimmy Lloyd.
And I think Jimmy Lloyd might have the best chant in pro wrestling. Jimmy fucking Lloyd. So good. All right, next up, we had the guy who, if you were watching from the beginning, he gave us a shout out this week. One of my favorites, SGC Matthew Justice against Dark Sheik. Dude, massive props to Dark Sheik for hitting that leg drop off onto the outside. That was crazy.
Yeah, that whole match was crazy. That was a really fun fucking just like, oh shit. Like, one of those kind of matches. Like they had you fucking, looking left and right to see what the hell was going to happen next. I love that kind of shit. Dark Sheik's awesome too. Like, it's so cool.
Yeah, I'm a big Dark Sheik
fan. That spot with, like you said, the leg drop, that's how you break your tailbone, but like completely went out there and just absolutely nailed it and looked legit. So that was a great match.
And
it was a trip.
Yeah. I love Matt Justice, man. He's a guy, I know he's, him and Mance are in the tag titles, this collective, but he's a guy I could really see with that strap around his waist, the big strap. Like, I feel like he's a main event guy, man.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Snakeskin tights, like he looked like a main event guy. He looked like a main event guy on Thursday, and I think the future's super bright for him. He has a good look too. I think he has a good look, like he could be the champion. And he goes out there, obviously working that style where the offense looks brutal and can utilize the weapons and stuff. It fits a world champion type of mentality.
Oh, definitely. I love the spot where Dark Sheik did a suicide dive into Justice, but he caught her in a fireman's carry. Like he caught her mid suicide dive and dumped her. It was so cool.
Beautiful, man.
Next match we had Bussy against Gangsta Party.
For you, keep it.
Effy's fine.
Effy is on, and we'll get to the collective matches, but he is must-see TV every time he's out there. He's charismatic. He's great in the ring. He can work any style. I mean,
great look.
I can't say enough good things about Effy and him with ALLIE KATCH. It's a great tandem. The one thing though that annoyed me, I don't know if it was Denise or I don't know who else was saying, but they kept they wanted to get the Bussy thing over. They kept saying it over and over. Like, we get it. That's what the team's name. I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Effy, I mean, every time he's on the card, I circle it. That's what I want to see. And I just think he's so versatile. And it is such obviously he brings a unique flair to the ring, but he can wrestle a hard-nosed style and just go out there and work with anybody. And I'm always impressed with what he brings to the card. And this was no different. This match lived up to the billing. And Little Cholo and B-Boy, like they held their own as well. It was fun to watch this match. And even the spot, I believe when Effie kissed, I think it was Cholo, kissed Cholo, or was it B-Boy?
I think it was Cholo.
Yeah.
But it was just funny. And then they like exchange it, and then the announcers didn't know what to do, and the crowd was confused. It's just like everyone was having a good time, and it was so much fun. And Effie's antics definitely like biting Cholo's nipples at one point, like so much hilarious. So
I love the gay ranchula when he's choking them out with his leg on. It's like one of my favorite moves. The one time commentary mentioned Bussy that I popped for, KG was like, Google Bussy, but you might want to put GCW with it so the search results don't. Like, that was the one time I was like, okay, you got me.
The double submission, cool at the end. I mean, awesome. And you said like the gay ranchula is awesome. I do remember back when Cardona first came into GCW, he was using what is he even called? I think he just calls it the Rough Rider, where he like puts his leg over. He's like, that's Effie's move, a variation of Effie's move.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
Another thing before we move on to the next match is, dude, I love ALLIE KATCH.
Yeah,
she is so fucking tough. In a company with a bunch of wild motherfuckers, she stands out. She's kind of like, to me, she's became the queen of GCW. Like she is it. And she's so good, and she's such a character, and she's such a standout, and kind of a personality that's all her own. It really worries me for the GCW fan of me that she's going to get scooped up, man.
Absolutely.
Like, she's too good. And I'm pumped for her because she needs, obviously the step up is the thing everybody wants, but man, she's so good. She's going to get scooped up because she's got that it quality to me.
Yeah. She's worked AEW Dark a few times, but I think it's a matter of time before because they're going to need women for the Ring of Honor roster, and they're going to need obviously more women we talk about it all the time. AEW needs more depth for that women's roster and more main event level talent. And she could insert her right away. She's her character enough, and in-ring work would already be top of the card as far as the women go in AEW.
Yeah.
No, for sure. She's definitely one of the people I hope that they bring into Ring of Honor, especially to light that women's division on fire. Oh, it would be so good, and she'll trailblaze that shit. She's great, man.
Yeah. Next match we had Jai Vidal against Blake Christian, who we talked about earlier.
Watch out!
Love it.
Yeah,
solid match.
Unreal.
Yeah, what the fuck, man? It's like a mix of just like the craziest lucha spot and like some insane shit you would like. Oh, I made this up with my toys.
Yeah,
Wow.
The spot where he jumped over the ring post too, over onto the outside, he made that look so easy. And then the finish with the German suplex. Everything looks so beautiful. Seamless, and he's like a rubber band in there. He just like bounces around like a rubber ball. Like,
yeah, I think I have the spot I have the spot you're talking about, Ace.
All right.
Oh my God!
That's unreal, man. Unreal.
It's the pinball wizard. Like,
and we've seen that before, but he made it look so seamless, like it was just part of his repertoire. Like, no big deal. I'm just going to jump over the ring apron and not know where I'm landing, by the way. And it's pitch black in there, so it looked amazing.
Right. And then the last match we had before the main event, which we already spoke about, was Eli Everfly against Juicy. This was a fun match. This was about as indie as it gets to me.
It was not a bad way though. It was fun.
But this is the type of fun you see at any bingo hall independent show. Like Juicy, the big guy against a smaller guy, and they just kind of pull you in. And it's not a work rate match.
No,
it's not a high spots match. It's just kind of one of those fun in betweeners.
Yeah, I watched this live with Mike on the Discord. We had it streaming live, and this is the match we were watching live when I caught up to them. And I think it was like 2 a.m. by the time they were getting to 2 a.m. Eastern. But this was crazy. I mean, but there's a place in the card for it. Like we said, it is a collective. Not to use that word as a pun or a play on words, but it is actually a collective of different styles of wrestling, and this just fits it. Like you said, this is very carny, very indie. But there's a place for it. Like you said, it was fun. It was like a nice cleanser before the main event, so we can just get ready, reset, because the Blake Christian had us all over the place. You need something to kind of get the blood pressure a little bit down and get ready for the main event. It did its job.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just a fun little, what's Bruce Pritchard call him, a let me up match.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and since we wrapped up the event, let's go ahead and pick our best bout. So I'll kick it off. I was very, very close to picking the Speedball Blackwood match. Like, it kicked the night off, and I was like, man, nothing's really stepped up to that. But I hate to be that guy, but I got to go the main event, man. The Ninja Mac, 26 minutes with Janella, the kicking it off with the promo, the tie-in with XPAC, the phenomenal in-ring stuff they were doing. I went Janella Ninja Mac.
Hell yeah. No, I was right there with you. Especially the Nick Wayne match. It was so fucking good.
Yeah.
Mike Bailey killing it. That's the fun part about GCW. You actually struggle to pick your best bout for the night because you're like, what the fuck just happened? But I'm 110% with you in that corner of Joey Janela and Ninja Mac, because it was 30 minutes of them just putting on a fucking show.
Yeah.
And it was great.
I was originally going to say the opener had my heart from the beginning, but just thinking about the meaning of the main event and shooting the angle and putting a spotlight on this feud to make it feel like a main event level feud. And then on top of it, you got 30 minutes of quality work rate with great wrestling, not just good wrestling, great wrestling. And up and down the card we talked about, there are great matches to watch. I mean, the Nick Wayne match is definitely up there. And on any other night, maybe it would have stole the show and been the match of the night. But I think Janella and Ninja Mac definitely deserve their flowers, and it was match of the night.
Hell yeah. So we're unanimous in that, and then we'll go ahead and go to BMF.
BMF of the weekend.
Of the weekend.
This was a hard one because, coming out of an event where Tremont's taking a fork in the fucking head, it's kind of easy to pick a bad motherfucker for the weekend, but there wasn't a ton of wild shit. So for me, just the pace that they set and the amount of car crashes in it, I'm going BMF of the weekend, Matthew Justice.
Like that. That's good, man. Again, this is one of those things you struggle to figure it out because there's so much good shit on there. But based off the promo, which was I think is a promo, it's as good as it gets in wrestling. And then you got the match that followed, just craziness. Joey Janela, I'm giving him his fucking flowers, and he's going to get his flowers until the weekend's over. He's my bad motherfucker.
For the sake of being a little bit different, because I agree with both of you. I think both of them are just bad motherfuckers. But I want to go with Dark Sheik, going out there and just absolutely taking a beating by Matthew Justice and holding their own and just absolutely just getting crushed and giving some back. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to just take all these bumps. Dark Sheik went out there and took a beating, and then I have a newfound respect. I always had respect for Dark Sheik, but even more so after One Night Only.
Oh yeah, I love her.
All right, so all of that's out of the way. We'll give you our own version of a let me up match before we get into the collective preview. So let's go ahead and get into
GCW top fucking tweets.
GCW top fucking tweets of the week, Mike. Well,
yeah.
The last 2 weeks, because it's been 2 weeks since we had a show.
I know, it's crazy.
So we'll kick it off. I think this is fitting to kick it off, and stick around because there's silliness to be had. But I felt like this was a good one to kick it off with.
The bad boy Joey Janella. Thoughts with Scott Hall. Always been an absolute godsend to me. The many hours of advice from him got me to where I am today.
We talked about their connection. I thought that was nice to see. Then we go into the man who's become the staple of top fucking tweets, Emo J.
OG Figure?
Daniel. Oh yeah. Daniel Garcia, sports entertainer, is really good shit, pal.
Such a good, I love, if you're not following Emo J, he's fun to watch during any other wrestling event. Like if it's Dynamite or Raw or SmackDown, he's live tweeting and he always has really good observations. Next, we got one from old Mance Warner.
Stinger dropped in from a damn helicopter to whoop some NW ass just because he didn't have a ceiling to drop from. Nothing is impossible, y'all. Y'all can do anything. Stinger forever.
Damn true. Happy birthday, Stinger. I was a week removed, but
63, baby.
Oof.
Crazy.
Then we get just a simple tweet from ALLIE KATCH.
Fucking glad.
Yeah.
She went to the Glassjaw show that you went to, I believe, Mike.
Oh, hell yeah.
I actually saw them on Friday myself near me. So
that's cool.
If
I would have known, I would have been on the lookout, man.
big Glassjaw fan, especially the first record.
Yeah.
They played it through the night I was there. Everything you want to know about Silence, and the bonus track. They even did like the vocal interludes, and that was
amazing. Yeah,
it was amazing. So good.
Loved it.
All right, and another one from Emo J.
WrestleMania 13 sucked. Probably the worst WrestleMania there was. Aside from the ones that happened in the last 10 years, those don't count. I ordered it as a 10-year-old and played with my figures instead of watching the show because it was so boring. Fuck WrestleMania 13.
All right. That was hilarious. Like, it really was a boring WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think we look back at things like for a fondness, and we're like, "Oh, it was the best." But like, in retrospect, you probably haven't rewatched it in 10 years.
I mean,
you
the
go
main
back to
event
rewatch
was
it
good.
now. Yeah, no, the main event was great, but it's so fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
Then we get one from Matthew Justice himself.
Oh hell yeah! 2 middle finger emojis. Swiggle beer for the working man at Steve Austin BSR at ESBC Brews.
And it's a picture of Austin's brand new American lager, Broken Skull lager. I got to try that. I love the IPA.
I had it this weekend. Very, very good. It was. It makes sense for him because the IPA was not what he was chugging in the ring. So it makes sense to have the Budweiser type of beer, but with a little more class. You know.
I'm excited for it, man. Hopefully I can find some here because it's been hell finding the Stone Cold beer since it launched.
Yeah. All right. Next, we got one from Blake Christian.
None of this would be possible without all of you. Thank you. Hashtag AEW Dark.
That's from his debut on Dark.
Yeah. Makes this little GCW crew proud, man.
Yeah.
Big things to come for Blake Christian. Only the start.
Then we get one from the motherfucking truth, AJ Gray.
All motherfucking day. Triple H also got the best Hell in a Cell match record ever. Bro, look at his environment and take that shit personal. Y'all can hate, but he really a hardcore icon.
So true.
I believe him, man.
I believe him. Yeah. I'm not going to second guess the truth.
No, absolutely not.
We can go into it, but the street fight with Cactus Jack at the Royal Rumble 2000 was
one of the best.
one of the all-time hardcore matches in WWF history.
Absolutely.
All of his matches were Foley were just fucking insane, man.
They had great chemistry.
All his Hell in a Cells. I mean, he Triple H is so like underappreciated in my opinion.
For real.
Yeah.
Talking about getting your flowers, he's getting them this week, and it's a shame it took for a health scare for you to get your flowers. But people are really appreciating what he did and the legacy he left behind, not only in the ring but with NXT. So I appreciate you, Triple H, and I'm hoping that everything's in the clear now. That we're out.
Same.
Same.
Yes.
Another one from Emil J.
My weed man puts the weed in a Ziploc bag and then rips the zippy part off of the top for some reason. And I'm too intimidated to say, please keep the zippy part to him. I've been in that situation. That's what took me so hard with this. Is like, bro, you didn't need to tear the bag, man.
Leave it on there.
I like to keep my shit fresh. Like, come on.
All right. That's so good. All right. Another one from Old Mance.
Wrestling is wild now. Y'all got so much to watch. It's like mid-80s. We got to get that blood on events up though across the board. Don't worry, GCW got y'all. TNT getting funky too. This was this was Tony Khan's it was a what do you call it, quote tweet,
a retweet
to Tony Khan talking about relaunching Ring of Honor and making it a weekly product, and I'm excited for it.
I love it. He's like, y'all got so much to watch. It's like mid-80s. We got to get that blood on events up though across the board. Don't worry, GCW got you. TNT getting funky too. Love that. All right, one more from ALLIE KATCH. And she quote tweeted a picture of Jericho in his new purple getup and her in her purple getup from Hammerstein.
And she says, "Wow, Jericho is a confirmed Lady Gaga fan like me."
So good. Then we get one from the owner himself, Brett Lauderdale.
Fucking Brett. Had a fucking blast at the Roxy. Thanks, LA. This is definitely home away from home. Black heart emoji. Hashtag GCW Roxy.
And our last tweet of the night before we get into the last part of the show, Emil.
So just for some clarification, this is after the Sammy Guevara thing where he's like, you don't want to know what me and Ty Conte were doing with that belt, and so he goes, so is it just dudes that bust loads on championship belts, or are the ladies squirting on their gold too?
That shit killed me, dude.
And that sums up Emil's fucking Twitter account. Like, go follow the guy. Like, he's the best, man.
It's so a little levity with the tweets. Guys, so we'll go ahead and let's do we want to go into our 5 and then kind of preview the events on the back end? I say we get into our 5.
Sounds good.
Hell yeah.
All right, so we'll go into
the Ain't No Jive 5.
All right, Ain't No Jive 5. We're going to preview 5 matches each that we're stoked on for the collective this weekend. I'll start. Number 5 for me. This might be higher for you guys. It might not even be on your list. Who knows? I feel like this is a gimme match for expectations. The World Championship taking place, Spring Break, Part 1, Moxley versus AJ Gray. Stoked for that. I love AJ Gray. I think him and I think Mox is going to elevate AJ
for sure. Oh, it's going to be amazing.
It wasn't on my list, but it definitely was close, and that just speaks to the level of match quality we're getting this weekend. So if there was a 10, it would definitely be on it, but that match is going to be awesome. Anytime Moxley and AJ Gray in the ring, it's going to be definitely must see, and especially with the world title online. I wonder if Moxley drops the title, because I don't know how much time he's going to be able to spend when he's back on the road with AEW full time, because he's doing stuff with Brian and stuff. So wouldn't shock me if we saw a title change here.
That's very true.
Very, very true. My number 5, I was picking out of love here, but PCO versus Speedball Mike Bailey is going down on the World on Lucha. Or wait, that's not World on Lucha. That's Spring Break night number 2. So fucking pumped for it, man.
Dude, PCO, French Canadian Frankenstein, man. What a wild guy.
You got Mike Bailey running around the ropes with that guy. It's going to be a fucking blast, man.
Yeah. And again, 2022, we got the guy from 1993 WWF in there in the ring on WrestleMania weekend. I mean, just you can't make it up. And the guy is reinventing himself. I loved his run as Ring of Honor champion and everything he's doing since. So I'm hoping maybe they get him back involved with Ring of Honor and the rebrand, because I think he represents what Ring of Honor could be as far as just being a little bit different than just the technicians in the ring.
Yeah.
For my number 5, I have Thunder Rosa versus Tricia Dora at Mission Pro at Bangers Only, which is going to happen on the 2nd. And for multiple reasons, Tricia Dora definitely deserves to be in the spotlight. I think she's an up-and-coming wrestler. I love what she's done in Ring of Honor. She's wrestled in Progress. If you haven't seen her, check her out. And then also for the fact that Thunder Rosa, the AEW World Women's Champion, is going to be featured on a card that's not AEW that weekend. It just shows how progressive that Tony Khan thinks, and it's awesome. The AEW World Championship is going to be on display in a different company, and Tony Khan doesn't have to allow anyone to do this. He easily could have pulled the match with with Thunder Rosa being champion at the time and saying, "Hey, she can't make the date." But he knows how much it means to not only fans but to the other companies that rely on this weekend to make their money. So, really awesome. Looking forward to see this match. I'm looking forward to see Thunder Rosa in an environment to maybe raise the level of another women's wrestler that deserves to be spotlighted.
And that's the beauty of like Mission Pro, that's Thunder Rosa's company. So it's like Tony Khan, by letting her do that, he knows that she's helping build a women's division. That's kind of like the minor leagues. And by putting her there, it shines a light on these girls. I love that move too. It definitely shows a progressive way of thinking from Tony. My number 4 is the payoff to a match that was set up a couple months ago that we talked about on this show, and that is Psycho Clown versus Dr. Wagner Jr. World on Lucha. It's a Lucha Extreme match. I think Psycho Clown is one of my favorite people to watch. Dude is a fucking maniac. The match he had with Gringo Loco was one of my favorite of the year so far. I'm really excited for Psycho Clown, Dr. Wagner.
Yeah, I mean the whole World on Lucha show is going to be fucking bonkers, because we know how that works. But leading right into my number 4, World on Lucha, we're getting fucking Psychosis versus Tony motherfucking Deppen.
I know.
2022, we're getting Tony Deppen versus Psychosis.
Psychosis. All the WCW marks are losing their shit right now, man.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
So I'm going to skip my number 4 because I had Speedball Mike Bailey versus PCO. I totally agree with you. That match is going to be must-see. I'll go right to my number 3. I have Moxley versus Biff Busick, the former Oni Lorcan, at Bloodsport at March 31st. So that match should be awesome. If you haven't seen Oni Lorcan in NXT, he's trying to reinvent himself since being released. I saw him at House of Glory. I believe he wrestled Low Key that night, and it was awesome to see him back. Not sure how I feel about the name Biff Busick, but it's still the same guy. It's still the same work rate. And I think him and Moxley are going to go out there and give you a hell of a show at Bloodsport.
Yeah. Talk about a good Twitter follow, too.
Oh, great.
He's fucking hilarious.
He's an interesting guy. I wish that's what they should have done in NXT. Let him just be the interesting guy he is in real life instead of making him this whatever they're trying to do in NXT. It never made sense to me.
Let him tweet in all caps. The guy likes to tweet in all caps. It's fine.
It's fun.
My number 3, I feel like these top 3 for me are, I don't have many deep cuts. I do have some honorable mentions I'll mention at the end, but number 3 for me is the triple threat World Tag Team match at Spring Break Night 1, Briscoes, Hate Club, and Second Gear Crew. It's going to be an absolute chaos ensue. There's no word to really describe. You can say car crash. It's an overused term.
Yeah,
but
that's what it's going to be, though.
I mean, I love the Briscoes. I love Second Gear Crew, and then the Hate Club holding the titles going into this match. I think it's going to be that spectacle, just off the wall match of the weekend.
Yeah, I'm right there with you because that's my number 3 as well. I'm so oddly pumped for this. I know it's going to be a train wreck, but in a good way. And I mean, the Briscoes, we got them doing the Ring of Honor. This is before or after Ring of Honor?
It should be before.
Yeah, right. So hopefully they will be able to walk in the Ring of Honor fucking alive and well after this fucking shit show of a fucking tag match. But it's gonna be badass, and I'm so excited for it.
It will be an awesome compilation to show what the Briscoes are capable of, and just how, again, I'm using the word diverse and like different styles you can work, because they're gonna go and wrestle FTR and have the type of match that you expect from an FTR match, and then go out here in the car crash type of match and steal the show in a different way. It just shows how they're dynamic. They really are. And like, they definitely are deceiving with the way they look. You don't think they'd be able to wrestle that technical style. It seems like they'd be like a death match type of wrestler, but they're going to go out there at FTR. And I know we're not speaking about Ring of Honor right now, but I am the Ring of Honor guy now with Society, but they're going to go out there and they can hold their own in any type of match. And I think that's what makes them one of the best tag teams of all time. So I definitely can't wait for that match either.
Yeah.
They're Cool Whip. That promo today was great.
So awesome.
So number 2, I have, which this could have been my number 1. I struggled, but my number 2 is XPAC against Joey Janela.
I agree with you. That's my number 2 as well.
It's my number 2 too. We got a 3-way dance here.
Wow.
I want to see Janela get his flowers.
Yeah.
I want to see X-Pac fucking have a great ass match, and I know both guys are going to kill it. So like, there's no less expectation towards it. You know, it's just going to be a fucking great match.
I like this on the 31st too, because it's going to set the tone for the weekend.
Yep.
I think it's a great tone setter, and it's going to be like, all right, now everything top what we just did. And I think people can, but that match is going to be really hard to top from the 31st on.
I want to see a great match, but I want it to end with Joey Janela being as despicable as he can. I want him to break every DX fan's heart, and I want him to do something very bad to X-Pac to get even more heat. Because if he is hurt with a torn bicep, maybe you put him out for a little bit to heal that, and you set an angle where he can return in a couple months and get his comeuppance. But I hope that's the way it goes. Number 1 for me in the Ain't No Jive 5. It's not 2 big household names, but to me, this blood feud it's been building. We've been tracking it for months. I've got the ultra violent championship match on spring break. Alex Colon, the King, versus John Wayne Murdoch. This is going, I think these guys are going to tear each other apart.
Yeah, I am very excited for that. Like, very, very excited for that. So my number 1 is Mox and AJ Gray, because it's the GCW World Championship match. Man. Obviously, call me the mark I am, but I feel like that always gets the number 1 spot. I'm excited for this match. I think AJ Gray is going to fucking run shop, and I think it's going to be a great, just back and forth, beat the shit out of each other kind of fight. I'm here for it.
So as far as my number 1, I telegraphed a little bit on my Instagram. If you guys follow me, I did post a match graphic of, especially when it came out, Minoru Suzuki versus EFFY at Spring Break Part 2.
Yeah.
I love both of these guys. I'm such a Minoru Suzuki mark. I loved his run through AEW throughout the summer. His match with Bryan Danielson was one of my favorite matches of the year. And EFFY, like I talked about before.
What a matchup.
EFFY deserves all the accolades that are coming his way. And I think the future is so bright for him and what he's going to accomplish. And, you know, unfortunate for GCW fans, it's not just going to be left in GCW. He's definitely going to seek brighter lights, because I think his charisma is going to carry him a long way. But just speaking just right now, the here and now, this weekend at the Collective, this match, to me, I'm looking forward to this match almost more than the whole weekend of any promotion, whether it be WWE or Ring of Honor or anything going on. I think the styles clash. To me, I love that type of match where you don't know what type of style that they're going to default to. And it's going to be interesting if EFFY tries to keep up with Suzuki with the slaps and the Japanese hard style, or is Suzuki going to go to the level of EFFY where they're going to allow to do like some of the flippy stuff? I don't know. And I want to see EFFY. I really want to see EFFY go out there and have a hard-nosed style Japanese match, because I think he can prove that he can have that type of match. And maybe in the future, he can mix in some of that style for future matchups, because I think it just adds a different dynamic to his in-ring work. So
he takes a great beating, and I love it. Love matches like this with EFFY, because he always brings out some like animalistic quality of himself that we rarely get to see. He like rises to the occasion. So just a few matches I wanted to highlight, just honorable mentions that didn't make the cut. The Hitmakers, formerly Hit Row, are going against Shane Taylor Promotions on For the Culture. I love Shane Taylor Promotions. We spoke to him on the podcast several months back. Dude has a mind for the business. I hope he lands somewhere, but to see, the former Hit Row of SmackDown and NXT going against Shane Taylor Promotions, formerly of ROH, that'll be a fun match. Chris Dickinson's making his return, and he has 2 monster matches. Speaking of Suzuki, Ace, we've got Suzuki Dickinson at Bloodsport, and then on Spring Break Night 2, we get Cardona Dickinson. And Dickinson's going to have Missy Hyatt in his corner with Cardona and Chelsea Green. That's awesome.
Is there a title on the line for the Cardona match? I don't think so. I mean, he has a million titles, so I wasn't sure if he was putting one on the line.
Sure. No, I don't think so.
He's got like 7 titles at this point. And the last one, I had Psychosis and Deppen, but Mike mentioned that one.
Yeah. How can you not?
How could you not? And then on GCW Planet Death, we're getting Akira against Cole Radrick, and Cole Radrick had that Orin Vite match that was just phenomenal about a month ago.
Yeah. Ratty Daddy.
Ratty Daddy, man.
I'm here for it.
But so just to run down the weekend. So we're kicking off, just so everyone knows what to watch, when to watch it.
Yeah.
It kicks off Thursday at 4 p.m. with Bloodsport. Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. Great matches. Ton of great cards. We're getting Josh Barnett versus Jonah, Timothy Thatcher, JR Kratos. We got Suzuki and Dickinson. You got Moxley against Biff Busick. So there, and a host of other ones, but that's just some of the top tier matches. Then on Thursday, March 31st at 9 p.m. is when we get arguably the big show, Spring Break. Actually, that's the wrong. Here we go. Spring Break Part 1. That's where you're getting Mox versus AJ, Alex Colon versus John Wayne Murdoch, Briscoes, Hate Club, SGC, Janella, XPAC, and we're getting Blake Christian, AR Fox, among others.
Oh, it's gonna be so good, man.
It's a good night. Then we get Friday, technically Thursday night, but it's Friday at 1 a.m. They're bringing out the Death, Planet Death.
Such a sick logo.
Such a sick logo with the light tubes. You're getting Akira Cole Radrick. You got Shane Mercer against Neil Diamond Cutter. A lot of great death matches are going to be on there. Then the next day at noon again, it kicks off LA Fights versus JCW. That's their kind of feeder league into GCW, Jersey Championship Wrestling. You got Billy Starks, Sandra Moon, Alex Price, Jack Cartwell, Dark Sheik against Charles Mason. A lot of good stuff there. And then at 4 p.m., we kick into For the Culture. That's where you're going to get Tasha Steelz defending her Impact Knockouts Championship against Big Swole. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Big Swole.
It's going to be good.
You get the Hitmakers against Shane Taylor Promotions, AJ Gray against Darius Lockhart, and then Too Cold Scorpio going against Brian Keith. I love Brian Keith.
Yeah, I love me some Too Cold Scorpio. It's hard to plan out which shows I'm actually going to watch and not watch at this point because I want to watch everything.
Oh, I know, man. And then to cap the night, so you've got LA Fights against JCW For the Culture at 4 p.m. and then at 8:30 p.m. This is going to be happening when ROH's pay-per-view is going on. You're getting Gringo Locos, The World on Lucha.
We're going to need 2 TVs. Got to set up 2 TVs. That's the move.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Psycho Clown Psycho Clown Dr. Wagner, Psychosis Tony Deppen, Team Gringo against Team Laredo Kid. Going to be some good matches there. And then that night we're getting a 1 a.m. event again. And that's Spring Break Part 2. That's the greatest clusterfuck. That's where we're getting the Chris Dickinson Matt Cardona match and the Effie Suzuki match.
Curious what tights Cardona breaks out for this. He always has tights for a big moment.
Yeah.
I wonder what he's tapping into. The Mikey Whipwreck tights at Hammersteamer, that was
awesome.
Loved it.
Yeah.
And then the last event of the weekend for the collective will be the day of night 1 of WrestleMania at noon. If you want to get your WrestleMania kickoff party, instead of watching NXT 2.0's event at noon, go over and watch Effie's Big Gay Brunch.
Let's go.
Right.
And then just some quick hits before we get out of here, just to kind of give you guys a calendar on what to expect in the next month from GCW. You've got April 9th. They're going back to LA for Paranoid.
Love that. Fucking
that's a
graphic.
great logo. Then it's a double shot weekend. So the 9th we have Paranoid, and then on the 10th we have Devil in a New Dress, and then the 22nd they go to Columbus, Ohio, Find You Again, and then 23rd back to Harpo's for The Old Me.
That's a sick graphic too.
Yeah. So a lot of good stuff, man. They're going back. They'll be back in Atlantic City on the 30th of April and the 1st of May for In Too Deep and Life Goes On. I love the Atlantic City shows. It's like home turf.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We were talking about the venues and not to circle all the way back there, but some of those, the Atlantic City shows, like you said, have the coolest vibes at the Showboat Hotel, whether than the Carousel Room or the Sandlot. Both those shows have unique feels, and it's funny because it's like the same venue, but they are so distinctly different.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, don't forget in Jersey too, they're at House Independence in Asbury Park. I think 2019, they haven't been back there. That's a cool venue too. All brick building and brick walls on the inside.
Awesome.
So very cool. Like,
it
just speaks to what they're doing, and they're just keep coming. Hits keep coming.
It's going to be a big year because I think later into the summer, heading into the fall, they have a few dates set for the UK. So it'll be interesting to see Game Changer Wrestling go overseas.
I'm pumped for it, man.
I'm sure there's a lot of cool venues that they have there that they obviously have mapped out already because they're going there. But I'm looking forward to see what sort of aesthetic they bring there, because they want to bring the old timey type of British pub feel with the hardcore wrestling and the English wrestling scene. Should be sick.
Absolutely. Guys, tune in. Next week we'll have stuff on the weekend. We'll do our best to cover what we can. I mean, there's so much wrestling this weekend. You got 2 nights of WrestleMania. You have the ROH pay-per-view. You have all of the events we just listed from GCW and the collective. But we will do our best to give you, a little brush over of the weekend next week. And Ace, thanks for coming on, dude.
Hell yeah,
let
man.
everybody know where they can find you. Plug your shit. Plug everything.
Sure, and I appreciate you guys having me on. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. So it was a pleasure, and I would love to hop on any other time that you guys would have me.
Absolutely, dude. Anytime.
So you guys could find me at Acefield Retro on Instagram. I post all the updates for our show. We are doing a Dynamite recap on Wednesday night following Dynamite, probably getting started around 10:45 p.m. Myself and Nick the Comic Nerd are going to pop on there and review Dynamite. Hopefully it's a great episode. It usually is. We are also this Sunday, we're going to be doing a WrestleMania review for both shows, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully there's a lot to talk about. Maybe we'll be talking about Cody Rhodes. And, of course, stay tuned on the Instagram and on Turnbuckle Tavern for the updates of Honor Society, which will be coming, next week. We're going to be talking about everything that happens at the Ring of Honor show this weekend under Tony Khan's watch. So there's a lot to talk about. And lost in the sauce of all this good wrestling is Ring of Honor is off to a brand new start. So this is a huge, huge week for wrestling, not just for the fans, but for Tony Khan and for the history of wrestling and the lineage of Ring of Honor. So I'm super stoked, and I appreciate you guys. I'm pumped to be a part of Turnbuckle Tavern. You guys are the best. Join the Discord, subscribe to Turnbuckle Tavern, make sure you guys do share their post, follow Mike Belcaster, follow Chad, follow everybody from the Turnbuckle. It's the greatest crew ever, man. And they are bringing back the fun to wrestling. And where else are you going to get an hour and a half show about GCW? Where else are you getting that?
Right.
Yeah.
Only the Turnbuckle Tavern.
Dude,
Only the Turnbuckle Tavern.
We appreciate it, man. I think I can speak for Mike. We're stoked to have you on. I can't wait to see you guys. I think the team of you, Freems, and Sneed are going to crush it on the Honor Society. I think it's a opportune time to follow something from day one.
Yeah.
We haven't followed until now, but I feel like if ever there is a time to track this company, it's under new ownership. We are very AEW friendly at the Tavern, so it'll be fun to see what Tony Khan does with Ring of Honor.
100%.
Mike, you have anything going on? Plug it, man.
I go check out some pictures I take on my Instagram. Discord. I'm gonna push Discord so much because a lot of these GCW shows, I'll be in there probably watching them with the Discord community. They're doing a Raw watch party right now. Go sign up. It's fun. If you got nothing better to do, which I mean, most of us don't, but go check it out, man. It's good. It's fun.
Yeah, very easy to find. All you just
one of the
turnbuckletavern.com.
Yeah, everything's up there. Everything.
Shout out to Nick Storm in the chat blowing us up in here. He's the best, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And shout out to all the guys that were here tonight. Like we had a lot of different people, some names I haven't even seen before. Welcome, guys. Welcome back. And it's just cool that you guys are digging the GCW show because we fucking love the GCW show.
Hell yeah.
And I just want to shout out one person. Let me pull it up really quick because we don't get a ton of reviews on Apple. Like we have some, but I feel like that's the thing. I'm lazy about it too. Again, guys, if you can review us on Apple, it goes a long way. But we did get a review this week and it was about the fucking GCW show. So I just want to read the review. It says, the fucking GCW show is tube busting greatness. TUBE, tube busting greatness. And the AEW reviews are dynamite. So Noah Forbes, I know you're in the Discord as well.
He was on here talking about how Joey Janella came a long way from jumping off the roof with Zandy.
Big shout out to Noah Forbes for watching our stuff and giving us a review. We really appreciate it, man. But yeah, guys, next week we will be back for Ace, Mike, and Chad. Till next time.
Look at fun.
Fucking dick.